Welcome to Journey Through Eras, where we take you through the fascinating history of U.S. presidents. From the founding days of the nation to the present, every leader has faced unique challenges and made decisions that have shaped the country's path. In this video, we'll explore the pivotal moments, triumphs, and controversies that defined each presidency. Stay tuned as we take you on a journey through the lives and legacies of the men who have held the highest office in the land. 1. George Washington, 1789 to 1797. George Washington was the first president of the United States and is often referred to as the father of his country. A leader during the American Revolutionary War, Washington set numerous precedents for the office, including the two-term limit, which remained an informal guideline until the 22nd Amendment in 1951. 2. John Adams, 1797 to 1801. John Adams was the second president and one of the key figures in the American Revolution. He was a founding father and served as a diplomat in Europe before becoming president. His presidency was marked by the Quasi-War with France and the Alien and Sedition Acts. 3. Thomas Jefferson, 1801 to 1809. The third president, Thomas Jefferson, was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. His presidency is most noted for the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, which doubled the size of the United States, and the Lewis and Clark Expedition. 4. James Madison, 1809 to 1817. James Madison, the fourth president, is known as the Father of the Constitution for his role in drafting and promoting the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights. His presidency saw the War of 1812 against Great Britain. 5. James Monroe, 1817 to 1825. The fifth president, James Monroe, is best known for the Monroe Doctrine, which declared that European powers should no longer colonize or interfere in the Americas. His administration also oversaw the acquisition of Florida and the Missouri Compromise. 6. John Quincy Adams, 1825 to 1829. John Quincy Adams, the sixth president, was the son of John Adams. His presidency was marked by his strong support for internal improvements, but he struggled politically due to the lack of widespread public support. 7. Andrew Jackson, 1829 to 1837. Andrew Jackson, the seventh president, is known for his populist policies and his role in the forced relocation of Native American tribes, known as the Trail of Tears. He also faced the Bank War, in which he dismantled the Second Bank of the United States. 8. Martin Van Buren, 1837 to 1841. Martin Van Buren, the eighth president, faced the Panic of 1837, a financial crisis that led to a severe depression during his presidency. He is also noted for his role in the creation of the Democratic Party. 9. William Henry Harrison, 1841. William Henry Harrison, the ninth president, served the shortest term in U.S. history, dying just 31 days into office. His death led to the first presidential succession crisis in U.S. history. 10. John Tyler, 1841 to 1845. John Tyler, the 10th president, became president after Harrison's death and is known for his strong advocacy for the annexation of Texas, which eventually led to the Mexican-American War. 11. James K. Polk, 1845 to 1849. James K. Polk, the 11th president, is known for his expansionist policies, including the annexation of Texas, the Oregon Trail, and the Mexican-American War, which resulted in the acquisition of California and much of the Southwest. 12. Zachary Taylor, 1849 to 1850. Zachary Taylor, the 12th president, was a war hero from the Mexican-American War. His presidency was cut short when he died in office, and his leadership was characterized by the ongoing debates over slavery and the growing sectional tensions. 13. Millard Fillmore, 1850 to 1853. Millard Fillmore, the 13th president, is known for signing the Compromise of 1850, which aimed to settle disputes over the expansion of slavery in the newly acquired territories. 14. Franklin Pierce, 1853 to 1857. Franklin Pierce, the 14th president, struggled with tensions surrounding slavery and the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which exacerbated the conflict between pro-slavery and anti-slavery factions. 15. James Buchanan, 1857 to 1861. James Buchanan, the 15th president, is often criticized for his inability to prevent the nation from sliding into the Civil War. His presidency was marked by the Dred Scott decision and escalating tensions over slavery. 16. Abraham Lincoln, 1861 to 1865. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president, is arguably the most iconic president in U.S. history. He led the nation through the Civil War, preserved the Union, and issued the Emancipation Proclamation, which freed slaves in the Confederacy. He was assassinated in 1865. 17. Andrew Johnson, 1865 to 1869. Andrew Johnson, the 17th president, became president after Lincoln's assassination. His presidency was marked by Reconstruction efforts following the Civil War and tensions with Congress over civil rights for freed slaves. 18. Ulysses S. Grant, 1869 to 1877. Ulysses S. Grant, the 18th president, was a Civil War hero who sought to rebuild the South during Reconstruction. His administration was marred by corruption scandals, though Grant himself was personally honest. 19. Rutherford B. Hayes, 1877 to 1881. Rutherford B. Hayes, the 19th president, ended Reconstruction by withdrawing federal troops from the South in exchange for his disputed election victory. 20. James A. Garfield, 1881. James A. Garfield, the 20th president, was assassinated shortly into his term, serving only 199 days in office. His death led to the passage of civil service reform laws. 21. Chester A. Arthur, 1881 to 1885. Chester A. Arthur, the 21st president, is credited with reforming the civil service system by passing the Pendleton Act, which established a merit-based system for federal employment. 22. Grover Cleveland, 1885 to 1889. Grover Cleveland, the 22nd president, is notable for being the only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms, making him both the 22nd and 24th president. 23. Benjamin Harrison, 1889 to 1893. Benjamin Harrison, the 23rd president, signed the Sherman Antitrust Act, which aimed to prevent monopolies and oversaw the admission of 6 states to the Union. 24. Grover Cleveland, 1893 to 1897. Returning to office for his second term, Grover Cleveland faced an economic depression and the Pullman strike, a nationwide railroad strike that led to significant labor unrest. 25. William McKinley, 1897 to 1901. William McKinley, the 25th president, led the nation during the Spanish-American War, which resulted in the acquisition of territories like Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. He was assassinated in 1901. 26. Theodore Roosevelt, 1901 to 1909. Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th president, was a reformist and conservationist who expanded national parks, built the Panama Canal, and strengthened the U.S. as a world power. 27. William Howard Taft, 1909 to 1913. William Howard Taft, the 27th president, oversaw trust busting and pursued a policy of dollar diplomacy, but his presidency was marked by conflicts with Roosevelt, leading to the split of the Republican Party. 28. Woodrow Wilson, 1913 to 1921. Woodrow Wilson, the 20th president, led the U.S. through World War I and advocated for the League of Nations, though the U.S. ultimately did not join. He also pushed for progressive reforms domestically. 29. Warren G. Harding, 1921 to 1923. Warren G. Harding, the 29th president, presided over the Roaring Twenties, but his presidency was marred by scandals, including the Teapot Dome scandal. He died in office in 1923. 30. Calvin Coolidge, 1923 to 1929. Calvin Coolidge, the 30th president, is known for his laissez-faire approach to business and his efforts to reduce government spending and taxes during the economic boom of the 1920s. 31. Herbert Hoover, 1929 to 1933. Herbert Hoover, the 31st president, was in office during the onset of the Great Depression, a crisis that severely impacted his presidency and led to his defeat in 1932. 32. Franklin D. Roosevelt, 1933 to 1945. Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd president, is the longest-serving president in U.S. history, serving 4 terms. He led the nation through the Great Depression and most of World War II. 33. Harry S. Truman, 1945 to 1953. Harry S. Truman, the 33rd president, took office after Roosevelt's death and is known for his decision to use atomic bombs on Japan during World War II and for the implementation of the Marshall Plan to rebuild Europe. 34. Dwight D. Eisenhower, 1953 to 1961. Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th president, was a former general and military leader during World War II. His presidency saw the creation of the interstate highway system and the Cold War tensions with the Soviet Union. 35. John F. Kennedy, 1961 to 1963. John F. Kennedy, the 35th president, is remembered for his inspirational speeches, his handling of the Cuban Missile Crisis, and his tragic assassination in 1963. 36. Lyndon B. Johnson, 1963 to 1969. Lyndon B. Johnson, the 36th president, is best known for his Great Society programs, including civil rights legislation and his escalation of the Vietnam War. 37. Richard Nixon, 1969 to 1974. Richard Nixon, the 37th president, is remembered for his foreign policy achievements, including opening relations with China, but his presidency ended in scandal after the Watergate scandal led to his resignation in 1974. 38. Gerald Ford, 1974 to 1977. Gerald Ford, the 38th president, became president following Nixon's resignation. His presidency is marked by his decision to pardon Nixon, a move that was highly controversial. 39. Jimmy Carter, 1977 to 1981. Jimmy Carter, the 39th president, is known for his human rights advocacy and efforts to broker the Camp David Accords, but his presidency was also marked by economic struggles and the Iran hostage crisis. 40. Ronald Reagan, 1981 to 1989. Ronald Reagan, the 40th president, is credited with revitalizing the American economy through tax cuts and deregulation, and played a pivotal role in the end of the Cold War. 41. George H.W. Bush, 1989 to 1993. George H.W. Bush, the 41st president, led the U.S. through the end of the Cold War and the Gulf War, but his presidency saw the beginning of economic downturns that contributed to his defeat in 1992. 42. Bill Clinton, 1993 to 2001. Bill Clinton, the 42nd president, presided over economic prosperity, balancing the budget and overseeing the longest peacetime economic expansion in U.S. history. His presidency was also marked by impeachment over a scandal. 43. George W. Bush, 2001 to 2009. George W. Bush, the 43rd president, led the nation through the September 11, 2001 attacks and the subsequent War on Terror, including the invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq. 44. Barack Obama, 2009 to 2017. Barack Obama, the 44th president, made history as the first African American president. His presidency saw the passage of the Affordable Care Act and the operation that led to the death of Osama bin Laden. 45. Donald Trump, 2017 to 2021. Donald Trump, the 45th president, is known for his unconventional approach to politics, his America First policies, and in his impeachment trials. He served a single term and was defeated in 2020. 46. Joe Biden, 2021 president. Joe Biden, the 46th president, took office in 2021 during the COVID-19 pandemic and a period of political division in the country. His administration has focused on pandemic recovery, climate change, and infrastructure. Thank you for joining us on this historical journey through the eras of U.S. presidents. We hope you enjoyed learning about the leaders who have shaped the course of American history. Be sure to subscribe to Journey Through Eras for more deep dives into history and other fascinating stories from the past. Don't forget to like, comment, and share your thoughts with us below.